Hi, John Dickson here from the Centre for Public Christianity. The problem with talking about the topic of evil and suffering, apart from the sheer magnitude of the question, is that you appear to be saying that you've got all the answers. You're an expert on the topic or something. But I want to head that one off at the pass. An expert on the problem of pain is something that I am not. My strength, if I can call it that, is my capacity to doubt. Honestly, there is hardly a belief I hold dear today that I haven't at some time or other seriously questioned. For some reason, I find it difficult to believe in something strongly if I haven't spent time doubting it just as vigorously. This isn't to say I don't attempt to answer my own questions. I do. In fact, that's the beauty of doubt. It forces you to sit loosely enough to your beliefs that you can begin to look at them objectively. It makes you investigate, search out, and once you're done, either to stop believing or to start believing with fresh conviction. But let me tell you where my doubting faith first began. I want to read to you from the Evening News of India, Tuesday, October 12, 1976. All 89 passengers and 6 crew members were killed when an Indian Airlines plane bound for Madras crashed within minutes of takeoff at Santa Cruz Airport at 1:40 a.m. today. The plane was only some 3 minutes airborne when its pilot noticed a fire in one of the engines. He was reported to have told air traffic control of the fire and said, "I'm coming back." Eyewitnesses, including friends and relatives who had come to see the passengers off, saw the plane burning in the night sky like a red ball before it crashed. The passengers had no chance. I remember that night very well. I was with my brothers watching TV. The phone rang. My mum answered the phone and received the news that she'd been dreading ever since she'd heard the midday bulletin on the radio. My father was on that plane and he was gone. I was 9 at the time and it's a bit of a blur. But my mum tells me a few days after the plane crash, I approached her with this question. "Mum, why did God let Dad's plane crash?" Now you need to understand, ours was not a religious home. We never talked about God. I'd never gone to church or Sunday school. But still, this unreligious kid had a hunch that there's meant to be a God who's in control of things. And on this occasion, he'd mucked things right up. Now, I need to say I share this with you not to gain your sympathy or even to establish my right to speak on the topic of pain. I share this simply to illustrate the universality of the question. Even a 9-year-old kid with no religion in his life at all knows to question why. Why God? It's a question thousands of people ask every day. Every time a marriage breaks down, a business goes bust, a child dies of cancer, the question goes up, why God? Why? I want to concede up front the undeniable force of this question. Despite the confidence I have in the Christian response to the problem of pain, I want to make clear to you that I'm not untroubled by the question of suffering. In fact, there are still moments when I find myself asking God, why? In fact, as I speak, Burma is trying to mop up after the devastating cyclone which killed tens of thousands of people. And the Chinese rescue teams are still trying to recover bodies in the terrible earthquake that flattened a small city. Listening to the news just the other day, I found myself irresistibly calling out to God, the God I've trusted for so many years. I still don't get it. Why? I want to say that I hold on to the biblical perspective, not because I think it has some knockdown answer to the question of suffering, but actually because I think it's the only perspective that is itself not completely knocked out by the force of this question. Which is why I want to spend a little bit of time unpacking the alternatives. What are the alternatives? Now, my intention here is not to disprove or even critique the other alternative positions on the question of suffering. I simply want to illustrate how different the biblical response is.